a brief introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Clear, Natasha?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Okay, my name is Rafeqah Raslan. So I just would like to share some about myself. I actually just completed my professional attachment in one of the cosmetic company in Shah Alam, and my research area is about product safety assessment. Is about safety and health risks on a formulated product. So formulated product will be consist of paint, cosmetic, pharmaceutical. So if any one of you who would like to further your master degree in safety and health risk assessment, and please come and see me. Okay. All right. So for today, I will inshallah share with you a pre-manuscript preparation. Actually, the slides was prepared by our Dr. Ashraf. So I just add some of the important informations. Okay, so this is what I will be presenting. I will talk about, firstly, of course, the definition of what is pre-manuscript. And then I will move on to why you need to write the pre-manuscript and what will be the process that you will undergo, and all the elements that you need to include in your pre-manuscript, and then the format of the manuscript, the grammar, the tenses, and plagiarism, and some of the handful tips, okay, before we end the presentation. Okay, so for the definition, what is a manuscript? It is actually a handwritten or a typed document. So for now, in your case, will be a typed document submitted for review or publication. So for you, it's actually a prerequisite for your RP, research project for your RP1. All right. So the pre-manuscript here, the terms pre is actually to represent preliminary of a manuscript. It is a proceeding or done in preparation or for something fuller or complete. So the complete manuscript will be next semester, inshallah, your RP2. Okay, so now what you need to do is you are actually preparing a draft of it, a short version manuscript. Right? Okay, so why? Why do you need to write the pre-manuscript? A part of it is a prerequisite for your RP1. Okay, because research starts with a new ideas and ends with a publication or reporting. So you are now is actually going to end your RP1 with some reporting of your work. All right. So a good research will be meaningless unless you can communicate your findings in a very clear and interesting way. So perhaps by the end of this talk, you can have a little bit of ideas of how to make your pre-manuscript more interesting, okay? And then pre-manuscript is to communicate your own new discoveries, ideas to your peers for the advancements of science and technology. You're not going to copy any work, any other's work. It's just that you are going to communicate your own, your new discoveries. So writing is actually to differentiate between a researcher or a scientist and a technician. Okay, a technician who is the one responsible of the machine, the analysis, for example, HPLC, GCMS. So the technician will run, okay, your samples using the equipment, the analysis equipment. That's it. But you, as a researcher, as a scientist, you will get the data, you analyze, and you have to write a report. You communicate, you publish, okay, you share your important findings, okay, with all the readers. Okay, so to attract interest from others in the areas of your research area, okay, that's why it is important, because you need to tell the people, you need to tell your friends about your research area to attract them to understand more about your research area, promoting your research area. Okay, so this is the process. I am sure you are now undergo half of the process already. That is reading the comprehension. You have read the literatures. I am sure by now you have read a lot of literatures already. You have done some reviews of it. You find the problems or gaps whereby you use all your logical and critical thinking, logic, tak logic, all the problems, the gaps, and then you generate idea and design a research. Okay, once you have clear with the problems and you come up with your own design of a research, what you need to investigate, what you need to know, what you need to discover. Okay, then that will be your methodology. A method is where you design on how can you perform your research. So you will cover, okay, in this green area, that is a literature review up to design a research. So inshallah, next semester, RP2, you are clear with all of this. You will perform your experiments. You will be performing your experiments. And then you will analyze your data and finally communicate your findings. And this will be your final or your complete manuscript. Okay. Okay, so first thing first, of course, when you want to write the manuscript, you must have your title. Okay, by now, I am sure all of you has your own title, but then please bear in mind, you might need change your title just a little bit here and there, the method, for example, throughout your readings, throughout designing your research method, there will be some changes, amendments to make your research better. So title will be changed. Maybe you need to change it along the way until up you complete your research next semester. So that's why I will share with you, okay, some of the tips also to actually improve your title or make it more interesting. So title should neither too long nor too short. It should be enough to just capture the essence of your study, just to attract your readers, okay? So generally, the title should be in between 7 to 25 words, and the title summarizes the main idea or the ideas of your study. So a good title is actually contain the fewest possible words, the little the better, that adequately describe the contents and the purpose of your research. If the title will be too long, it usually contains too many unnecessary words. For example, here, a study to investigate the. Okay, there is a redundancy of some of the words here. The meaning of it is actually almost similar. A study to investigate. Okay, what will be the difference with an investigation of, kan sama, a study to investigate, an investigation of, a study to, right? So we want to avoid some of the unnecessary words which does not reflect the main idea. Okay, so the shorter will be the better, okay? So a title which is too short often uses words which are too general. Okay, sometimes if it is too short and it becomes too general, for example, you just use the word sustainable material. Okay, you just cannot just have a sustainable material because it is not a book, because it just it resembles a title of a book. A sustainable material covers a lot of material. So if you have a book, then you may use a general term because you will cover all types of material that is sustainable, but not in a particular research that is in your manuscript. It is a very focused research, all right? So you must know your subject matter in your research. So please does not provide any information. Okay, so a study, okay, for example, some example of a title, a study of, directly point out your research object using your method. So what will be your method? Okay, so I have I have a few examples here on the title that I would like to highlight. Okay, the way you can make it better for your title. Okay, for example, we have here improving the oral delivery of benzenadazole nanoparticles by optimizing the formulation parameters through the design of experiment and optimization strategy. Okay, the first word here has kill it. Okay, has shown already the big contributions of the knowledge of the research output here, the findings. Okay, directly show here that the contribution is to improve. Improve what is the subject matter? The oral delivery of benzenidazole nanoparticles by What will be approach that you will be using? Optimizing the formulation parameters through and more emphasis here on the method, digging better, a design of experiment using DOE, and the optimization strategy. Okay, very clear. Contributions, the novelty here, improving. All right, that is the first example. We move on to the next example. Okay, a comparison of personal care product, okay, used between undergraduate students attending military and non-military universities. Possible implication for exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals. Okay, so what we have here, the first and the two words already has shown the main thing that they want to investigate. That is the comparison. That is the keyword. They want to compare. What will be the sample of the research? Undergraduate students. That is the sample. The research subject will be the personal care product. Who use the product? That will be your sample, your research sample. The participants of in your research, that is the undergraduate students. Comparison of between military, non-military universities. Why this is important? Because military university and non-military universities in America, in US, has different regulations in using the personal care product. Okay, and then in the title also has highlight the issue that they want to discover. That is the possible implication for exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals. Okay, I think I find the title very interesting, very clear. They want to make comparison. Okay, between who? I mean, what will be the sample? The undergraduate students. What is the issue? Okay, is that the personal care product? Is that a research subject? Just the subject. But what is the issue concerned with the subject here? Is the endocrine disrupting chemicals. All right, so another example here, optimizing study design in LTS challenge studies for quantifying drug-induced inhibition of TNF alpha response. Did we miss the prime time? I just would like to show some of the various ways of having your title of actually design to have a nice title, a very attractive title. It can be also in a questionable statement. Did we miss the prime time? Pun boleh juga. All right. I think I have missed one of the, yeah. Yes, I missed this one. All right. Okay, another title, recent advances on sustainable bio-based material. Okay, so if you have only sustainable materials, that will be very broad. Okay, you need to focus down, explain what is your research subject here. That is sustainable bio-based material. That is used in a manuscript. It has to be very detailed, short, straightforward. Recent advances on sustainable bio-based material for water treatment. So you won't give you a vague statement here that your readers will like which sustainable materials that you are referring to. Okay, so starting from the title, it has to be very clear. All right, and then fabrication, modification, and application. All right, so this title is also very good. The title itself has covered the scope, the research scope, so very clear. Okay, they are focusing on the recent advances, and then what did they do? They fabricate it, they modify it, and they apply it. Okay, so the scope is in the title already, right? Okay, we move on to the authors and affiliation. So you should list all your authors, your name, your supervisor's name, and you have a co-supervisor. Please write their names as well, and maybe you have other contributing authors. Okay, so please have their names in for the name of the authors. Do not put the title of the authors, for example, professor, doctor or madam or sir, okay? And then label the author's affiliation correctly. Example as below. Like you have A, B, C here, so you know that A is from another university, B and C will be another universities. It's not the same. That's why we need to, it indicates the different affiliations for every author. So that's why we have A here, B, C, and so on. And then you write it down like A, which university, the full address, okay? And then B, another university's full address, okay? All right, so we move on to abstract. Abstract is actually a short summary of your work, ranging from 100 words to 250 words. It should be short, concise, and 250 words, maybe, I'm not sure with the pre-manuscript for our format. Okay, you have to check on that. All right. But some journals, 250 words, some of the journals less than 200 words. Okay, it has to be short and concise. Depends on the publication's requirement. But for you, you need to check on the requirements for the template for your pre-manuscript. And the important thing that we want to highlight here also is it is only a single paragraph of the abstract. Please write down the main purpose. What are you trying to highlight and spotlight in this manuscript? And I would like to explain here that you should not contain any references in your abstract. I do understand that in your abstract, of course, must have problem statement, and the problem not come from you. The problem must come from previous works, right? But you do not need to cite that works. Okay, in abstract, it has to be fully on your own work. You are actually having a short summary of your own work, so you do not need to cite any references in your abstract. Okay, so what should you have in the content that you need to cover in your abstract? You must have research background. You must have problem statement. You must have objective, and then a methodology. And because this is a pre-manuscript, you should have expected result. And finally, after that, after your abstract, will be one line after that will be the keywords. Okay, selected keywords must represent the content of the manuscript. So what are the important findings, important points of your findings, and that will be the keyword. Okay, I will share one example of the abstract from, I think from Dr. Ashraf. Okay, starting of the abstract has got to the background of the whole idea, the research subject. So the subject is here, the subject here is low density polyethylene. That is the main subject. So you need to give some background of it. All right. So here, LDPE is one of the most widely used polymers in the world, and is produced in either tubular or autoclave reactors. Two types. As the LDPE industry turn into more competitive and profit margins become tighter, manufacturers have to develop solutions to debottleneck the reactor output while abiding to the stringent product specification. As such, optimization offers the best option for reactor debottlenecking approach. Okay, enough on the background. Understand very well, or LDPE. This manuscript is about LDPE, industry, profit margins, competitive. All right, that will be the scenario. Problem. Those are the words that we choose. However, nevertheless, despite of, okay, however, since the LDPE polymerization in tubular reactor is an intrinsic non-linear process, certain parameters need to be studied, right? Important to be investigated, need to be studied before it can be assigned as optimized variables in the optimization study. If these parameters are not properly identified, any problem there? If it is not identified, the optimization study might result in extra complicated sets of unresolvable solutions. So this is what you are going to tackle. This is going to be your contribution. You want to avoid the extra complicated sets of solutions to happen. That's why you need to find the parameters, okay, before you apply the optimization study. Okay, so therefore, right, the continuation, the after the problem statement will be the objective. Therefore, a model sensitivity study needs to be carried out to identify, and that will be the objective, identify the most significant parameters that affect the performance of LDPE process in tubular reactor. All right, from the background, we move on to problem statement and then the objectives, and now move on to the method. What is your method? An LDPE tubular reactor model will be developed and validated with industrial data. This is how they are going to do. They will validate with the industrial data. Okay. Prior to the sensitivity study, value of the monomer's initial concentration, initiator's initial concentration, and inlet reactor temperature will be used as manipulated variable. This is scope, right? This is scope. You want to highlight, you're pointing out that in your method, that what are the parameters that you will cover? This is what you're going to cover. The concentration, the initiator's initial concentration, the inlet reactor temperature. And then you put your expected result. This is very good. Okay. It is expected that coefficient of determination R squared equivalent to some values will be obtained for the reactor temperature and the monomer conversions profile respectively. The comparison of the product properties at the reactor end is predicted to show a satisfactory agreement where a low percentage with the range of 0 to 39%. It is predicted. This shows that this is what you expect from for your result. Okay, here you got values, but for you, if you do not have value, your expectation is just a relationship between one parameter to the other. Okay, then it is predicted that the temperature is proportionate. The temperature is equal, or the temperature will be lower than, for example. It should not be always, you must have values. Kena ada figure, kena ada data. No, it can just be a expected result. Here can also be a statement. But this is only for pre-manuscript, but not your real manuscript. Your real manuscript has got to have a data very detailed on the result. Okay, but for your pre-manuscript, you can just have in a statement, a concrete statement of what actually you expect to have, okay, to be your result. Okay, I have some quiz here. I will give you 2 minutes to read this abstract, okay? And I want you to find the research background, the problem statement, the objective, and the methodology. Nampak Is it okay? Any response from you? I do not hear anything. Takut tak dengar lah.
We can listen.
Alhamdulillah. Saya risau.
Okay, to the audience, I think it's best for you all to send a reaction thumbs up, okay? So that I can see how much
Betul,
in this,
betul.
Teams. Okay.
You can also answer this in your chat column. What would be the problem statement? What would be the research background, methodology, objective? Alright? Dekat chat pun boleh. Pendek je kan? The abstract. Very short. Aimi Najwa ada? Aimi Najwa? Atrisha Amani? Atrisha Amani? Dengar kan? Ke ada lagging?
Dengar tu dengar.
Okay, okay. Okay, good. Okay, anyone? What do you think is the research background?
Research background yang first sentence tu.
Ya, betul. First sentence. Apa first sentence? Personal care products are structured products that are constituted by numerous chemical ingredients. What is the subject matter here, the research subject? Apa dia? The
PCP.
content? Yes, good. It's the PCP. All right. Okay, so what is this problem statement?
Hazardous ingredient.
Yeah, several hazardous ingredients in PCP that may cause exposure to consumers and that lead to adverse health impacts. Okay, what is the objective?
Develop comprehensive framework for the PCP ingredient design.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Nurul, Yeah, betul. To develop a comprehensive framework for the PCP ingredient design that integrates the safety and health. Okay, so what is the methodology?
Mathematical optimization programming.
Okay, what would be the lab test that I include here? Ada lab test tak? Have you conducted?
Ada.
Oh, thank you, Raja Muhammad Imran. Yeah? Based on your understanding of the abstract, is there any experiments conducted? Any lab work involved?
Ada.
Ada.
Ada?
Sentence.
Yang mana?
The last sentence.
Yes, the laboratory experiment. So that will be another method lah, kan? Mathematical optimization. So here I have two main methods here. One, computational part, and the other one will be the lab experiments. So one we have done with the mathematical optimization, we got some results. Then after that results, I will move on to laboratory experiments in order to verify the feasibility. All right. Into the ingredients and preservative into the eye cream formulation. Okay, so is it clear? Okay. Yes. Okay, dekat sini, if you can see, there is no a specific data or values to represent my result. But okay, I indicate here that my result that is the development of the framework tadi, kan? That will be the objective, is to develop the framework. So in order for me to actually verify the framework, I carried out the laboratory experiment. Okay, so every research has their own way, unique way on how to represent your work, on how to actually verify, all right, your results. Okay. I move on to introduction. So it's a good opportunity to inform readers the usefulness of the work to be presented. Okay, so in your representation, in your introduction, again, you need to have the background. You need to have the literature review. You need to show the gap. You must have citation. Dalam abstract tak ada citation, but in your introduction, you must have citation of relevant references. You must have problem statements as well. And then you put on your objective lah, your aim, your purpose, okay? What is the problem that you need to solve and what do you hope to achieve? That is in your introduction. Okay, ada tak yang bertanya-tanya? Is there anyone who feels like confused? I need to put problem statement in all abstract pun kena letak, in pre-manuscript pun kena letak, dalam thesis pun kena letak. So how does it differs from one column to another, from one section to another? Okay? Okay, I will share with you. Let's say here, my problem statement is several hazardous ingredients in PCPs may cause exposure to consumers and lead to adverse health impacts. For abstract, I can have 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, 1 sentence is enough. We have 2 sentences, better. Kalau cukup words. Okay, if you do not exceed the limits of the words, and then for your pre-manuscript, all right, in the introduction, you need to have problem statement. So please put it in 1 paragraph. All right, so what are you going to write in the 1 paragraph? You need to summarize. There must be lots of health impacts. So what are the main impacts that you want to highlight? Make it just in 1 paragraph. There are respiratory difficulties, skin sensitization, carcinogenic. Okay, maybe 2 papers on respiratory difficulties, 3 papers on skin sensitization, 4 papers on carcinogenic. Contoh, pre-manuscript introduction. But in your thesis, okay, thesis will be the heart, okay, the heart of your whole research. Pre-manuscript ni summary saja. Okay, abstract lagi. Okay, summarize the short descriptions of the whole idea. Alright, so thesis, it must be very detailed. So you should have several paragraphs to state your problem. Okay, kalau tadi dalam pre-manuscript, maybe 1 paragraph saja. But now for your thesis, you should have several paragraphs. So what you can do is 1 paragraph to discuss 1 types of health impact. For example, respiratory difficulties, suffocation, for example, right? Asthma, 1 paragraph, explain what are the ingredients that leads to respiratory problems. Suffocation ke, asthma ke, short of breath ke, right? And then another paragraph pula, explain about skin, sensitization, allergic, irritation, burning, pun boleh, kan? Another paragraph pula, carcinogenic, cancerous disease, okay? Using this, exposed to this particular chemical or ingredients will lead to cancer. Yes, of course, there are lots of cancer. Okay, breast cancer, other types of cancer as well. Skin cancer, okay? So this is how you differentiate on where, how to write the problem statement. Kita juga dengan gap, the same thing. The same thing with method as well. In abstract, just 1 to 2 sentences. In pre-manuscript, 1 paragraph of method or 2 paragraphs of methods. But in thesis, very, very detailed. Okay, is that clear by now? Any other questions? If you have questions, sampai kat sini, boleh eh? Any response from the floor?
Clear.
Okay, boleh.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we move on to the next slide. All right. So you might have figures to represent, okay, to attract your readers. Must have a nice figure to represent your work in the introduction section. This is a schematic diagram of an LDPE. This is good, yeah, because some of you might do not have any idea of how LDPE looks like. So this it is. So that's why figures is also important to introduce your research subject, right? And then this is a model that using Aspen Plus. You may have in the form of a table to represent generally what are the properties of commercial LDPE. Okay, so LDPE, what are the properties? Oh, they're the density, they're the melting temperature there, for example. And then in introduction, also, you can have a summary of other people's work, other recent publications that relate to this, to your work, to your particular research area. And this is actually just to show the gap of the knowledge or the gap of the research. So kat mana you nak penetrate? Okay, where you want to solve the problems, you find all this yang tak cover. Oh, dia tak cover ni, dia tak cover ni, tak cover ni. So you cover. Okay, that shows the gap of the research. All right. And here are the examples of introduction. The first paragraph is about the background literature review. The same thing goes to the second paragraph. The third one is emphasized on the field of the research. And the fourth paragraph will be the analysis on previous study. And then the research gaps get, however, none of the studies have reported. Because there is none of it reported, you want to report. So your objective will be, for this reason, in the present study, a computational will be developed. All right? Okay, now since you are in pre-manuscript, you have not done any of laboratory works. So you will be used this tense. Okay, will be evaluated, will be developed. All right. Okay, we move on into method. A method consists of the description of the research design or research framework, a data collection methods, and analysis techniques. So research design, if necessary, you may provide a flowchart or a framework. And then you might data collection. Okay, how are you going to collect the data? What will be the parameters? What will be the main subject? What will be the data to take to collect during your lab work? All right. You should have done that already. I mean the idea of how are you going to collect your data. All right, and then you need to analyze your data. What will be the method, technique, or any model, any standard that you use in the article, right? If the method of analysis is developed from the current research, it must be explained clearly. All right, so if the method is novel lagi lah, you need to describe in detail because the method comes from you originally, right? If the method is standard, just mention the method used and cite the source. Okay, you are following which standard? Malaysia standard, British standard, US standard, and then you describe the development of a theory, design method, or modeling tool. Describe the experimental design, how and why it is done, and make sure that the method is producible or repeatable. That's why a step-by-step methodology is the best, so that people can reproduce the same way, just like what you do. They can repeat, they can actually appreciate, okay, the way you do it because they understand it, okay, very detailed. And if you use any software, name your software, okay, for your design, simulation, and analysis. Okay, I have an example of how can you illustrate your methodology. This is one of the examples is to show an illustration of the step that you take along the way in your methodology. So the first step will be the sample collections and preparation taken from personal care product. And then you move on to characterize. You need to characterize those products with, okay, what are the characterizations that you cover? This is your scope, AAS, HPLC, pH, total plate count, and then you move on to analysis. What are the things that you analysis? Trace metal, ada tak trace metal? Is there any hydroquinone in the product? What is the pH of the cream? What is the pH of the shampoo? Okay, what is the colony forming unit? So basically this is how the data that you will get, the graph and so on. And finally, you need to identify the risk identification. Okay, once you know the percentage of the hydroquinone, once you know the range of the pH, and then you analyze it, assess it, so that you know whether this is going to be safe or this is going to be a hazardous to the consumer. Okay, so this is one of the way you can illustrate your method to make your pre-manuscript more interesting, to attract your readers, right? Okay, this is a framework, an example of a framework to develop the research design. Okay, so dalam framework, there are phases, different phases. The first phase is to identify research problem. The second phase is to develop a framework of proposal. The third one, you demonstrate the proposal application where you can apply. The fourth one is the assessment of the framework. How can you assess the framework? And the fifth is the finalization. Finalization, that means to just to refine it, okay, to make it better, refine the framework and preparing for the final version. They use a lot of arrow and different types of line, okay, all right, colors as well, difference, okay, just to differentiate between one another. All right, for this one, the first phase result is a red color, and for this arrow is phase feedback. You got the feedback, return to the phase 2, okay, and then you proceed to the next phase, for example. All right, and then for the blue color is the result and the feedback. Okay, this is an examples of framework. You can do this as well, right? Okay, apart of that, I just would like to share another way of methodology. You can have like a flow chart, and then you can use some photos of the pictures of your test rig, your experimental rig, or your any equipment that you use, for example. Okay, so you can do it in a flow chart, in a framework, but then you copy, but then you paste your picture so that we can see in the real the picture of your equipment that you use. Okay, so this is how another method, another interesting method for you to represent your work. All right, so like for this one, existing product, next generation product. So you can see that this is the physical product before, and this is the one that has been improved, the next generation. All right. So dia letakkan, nampak sangat ni dalam pilot plan kan? Okay, they take picture and they paste it here. And this is the virtual product before and virtual product after. You can use this as well, okay? All right. This one we have flow diagram. Okay, before this is the previous one is the framework, and now we have flow diagram. So for flow diagram, it will be the steps that you're going to do. Firstly, you want to design and synthesis, and then you need to characterize. Okay, the next step you characterize, and then you do some testing. In a flow chart, they will have a different shapes that you are using. Kan? They have the diamond shape, the rectangle. Okay, okay, this is to represent, because when you have a diamond shape here, it will be okay or not okay, proceed or not proceed, and then you reverse. Okay, go back to the design synthesis until the testing has shown that it is stable, then only you proceed with the process. Okay, so what are the scope that you cover in the process? The unit operation, absorption ada, separation, clean energy and fine chemical analysis. Once all has been done, you can proceed with the commercialization. Okay, you can also have flow diagram like this in your methodology, right? Your methodology, maybe you have your the first part will be explanation in the paragraph form, and finally, before you end your method, you have an illustration, one figure to represent your whole steps. All right, your sequence in a sequence of your activities in your method. Okay, so what are the things that you need to report? Of course, the methods and materials. The experiments must be carried out in chronological order. That's why you need the flow chart to show the chronological order, a very detailed, a very systematic. Systematic way of doing research is also one of the key points that you need to capture the readers, right? And then you show your experimental setup. Any pictures, schematic diagram, jangan letak seketul pump. Okay, you must have pictures and you show the chronological order, just like what I have shown to you. All right. And then when you have materials or chemicals, please use the actual material. Do not use trade names. And then abbreviations, if you have abbreviation, must be explained beforehand. For example, you have HPLC, you must explain what is HPLC. You must explain what is GCMS. Do not just use abbreviation all the way along your pre-manuscript. Okay. Always state the standard that you use in your test, whether it's API, ISO, or ASTM. Any in-house method, describe clearly. And do not forget to record what other parameters are important for you to record. You You must have a temperature, humidity, pressure, and so on. Okay, another example, and this is for illustration on particularly on your experimental rig. Okay, if just now not much on experimental work, it may be more onto computational way. And when you have a rig, this is how you can represent a picture of your rig, and then you show, explain the detail, the parts of it. Okay, number one is the suppression experiment. What is number two? Or number two, you must label them. Okay, so that it will be clear to your readers what type of rig that you are doing, what parts that you consider in the rig, for example. And this is another way. This is a computational work in this using shapes. I mean, you can draw it on your own using AutoCAD or other software as well to illustrate your methodology. Okay, we move on to references. Okay, that will be the last part of it. You must have reference, bibliographic information, and then the style of writing. I mean, the style of writing of references, you should use APA as required by the pre-manuscript for RP1. And then you might use any reference manager. I know by now you are expert already to use Mendeley or EndNote. Which one is better, Mendeley or EndNote? You have attended the e-kemahiran, kan? Is it Mendeley only? Yeah, the talk, the workshop by the library. Mana tu?
Mendeley.
Saya tak nampak. Oh, Mendeley. Saya tak nampak kalau ada Mendeley. Oh, Raja Muhammad Imran dia tanya macam-macam. Tak apa je. Kejap lagi Saya kan bila saya tengok, when I see the slides, I cannot see the features of Teams. So I do not know what will be your the chat room, and I cannot see as well your names. Okay. All right. So for the formatting, you can check in the Moodle, general info and sources, under general info and sources, and in the Moodle also, please scroll into the pre-manuscript template. We do have template for you, so just use that template. So this is the example of that template. So please must have checklist. Okay, when you want to do, you start to do the pre-manuscript. Please bear in mind what are the citations type, APA, what will be the text size that you want to use, the figures and tables, the format must match the template format as well. And then the decimal point, we don't want you to have 5 to 6 decimal point, just have 3 is enough. And do not forget to put your unit as well. Okay, the values without the unit will be meaningless. All right. Okay, so we want you to have a checking on your grammar. You can use a software for that. One of it might be Grammarly. Okay, you can use Grammarly. And then please avoid using any short forms like doesn't, aren't, can't, hasn't, mustn't. Okay, because this is not appropriate in writing a formal or a scientific article. So please use formal words. All right, and then please use the correct tense. And when you want to represent your figure table, you have to use present tense. Figure 1 shows. Table 2 presents. Figure 4 highlights. Okay, and then present perfect tense. A past study, previous work has highlighted the effect. Okay, have. Contohnya, recent literatures have focusing on. Okay. Simple past tense, 2 types of nickel oxide were used in this study, right? A membrane, a flat membrane or hollow fiber membrane were used in this study. Past perfect tense, the cells had been irradiated, were assayed for DNA damage. Okay, you can use past perfect tense. Past progressive, while the cells were incubating. Ini dalam methodology. Dalam methodology, a lot of past progressive. While incubating, while fabricating, for example. And then some future tense. For example, in your result. The result pun method. Maybe some method, because you do not have results, right? In your pre-manuscript. So, but here and there, maybe in your abstract, you might have future tense because you do not have your own result, but you can put your expected result, so you can use future tense. That matter. Okay, for plagiarism, can occur when you as an author try to copy others' ideas, try to use words, sentences, or even a whole paragraph, any image, diagram, design, or artwork, and then you duplicate your own publication, which is known as self-plagiarism. Plagiarism is an intellectual theft, a very serious offense. It can be checked through software like Original or Turnitin. So in order for you to avoid a plagiarism, you have to cite and quote the original author for the diagram for that particular statement, for example. So there are many publications on plagiarism, detail explaining what is plagiarism. So one of it published by the Inca UITM. So you can read on how can you actually avoid the plagiarisms. Okay. Diagram, and then you need to explain more, label the detailed part of it. You can use the add text box if you want to put a figure table in a double column page. Once you have the text box, adjust the size accordingly, and then useful or use a reliable software to remove the plagiarism. Kalau you just straight away plagiate, and it will have that the underline, okay, the lines. Need to double check, else the meaning of the rephrased sentences could deviate. Use Mendeley for referencing, and I know you are now using Mendeley for reference. And just to remind, the reference data in the last 5 years will be much preferred by the readers and evaluator. Okay, finally, before you want to do your pre-manuscript, please look at your rubrics, because you want to know what are you going to be assessed. So these are parts of the assessment. In your abstract, what you should have, again, the problem statement, the objective, the background, and the method. In the introduction and literature review, what you need to cover. You need to cover the research background and problem what to solve, emphasize the significance of field research, analyze the previous research and theory, analyze previous research. And that's why we said you need to review other literatures, because you need to analyze them, and then you highlight the gap. What have not been done? What has been done? What needs to be done? Okay. Right, for the methodology, should include in proposing materials, what will be the materials that you are going to use, what will be the method, justify them, right? And then for the general part, that's why we touched on the format. You need to follow the format, you need to have a good grammar, you need to check your references, type of references, and the years, and the structure, and the pre-manuscript length, because this will covers under the marks for general. Right? Okay, so that's all. Stop. Okay, I stop sharing. Raja Muhammad Imran. Macam mana Dr. Ashraf? Kita proceed dengan tu
Thank you
ke?
very much, Dr. Rafeqah, for the interesting talk. Okay, I think we are approaching the 3:30, so we'll open the floor for question and answer. Okay, approximately 30 minutes only. So let's begin with the question at the chat box, I think, Dr.
Chat box yang first ni
Uh,
Coconut shell. Raja Muhammad, what I understand from here, that means you are actually giving the bigger picture of the biomass. Should I talk about biomass waste and how to utilize it, for example, absorption or GHG emission and CO2 is a worldwide problem. I see that will be the bigger picture, and then you focus only on coconut shell. Is that right, Raja Muhammad Imran? So is it okay for you to actually explain the bigger research area, then only you talk about coconut shell. Betul tak Raja Muhammad Imran? Manakah?
Raja, boleh tanya. Jangan malu. Tak boleh cakap bahasa Inggeris, cakap Melayu pun boleh. No problem. Dr. Raf ni dia memang dia belajar kat London.
Saya rasa apa yang saya faham ni betul kot. Macam mana Dr. Ashraf? Dia kata untuk receive background, should I talk about biomass waste and how to utilize it, for example absorption?
Okay,
Is
kalau macam
that
ni
the
punya
bigger
topik,
picture of it?
I think dia nak highlightkan apa yang dia patutnya highlightkan lah research background dia. So kalau untuk topik macam ni, first kali you kena highlightkan lah apa masalah CO2 tu. For example, CO2 release and so on. Okay, lepas tu boleh highlight juga
General kan?
approach by past studies that has been taken untuk capture CO2 ni. Okay, and then you highlight pula you punya research topic. Means you nak guna biomass, which is orang kata mungkin ada prospek untuk capture CO2. And apart from that, biomass kan, macam coconut shell ni berlambak kan. So why not we use this coconut shell ni untuk capture CO2 instead of high-tech orang kata high-tech machine and so on. I think macam tu lah rasanya punya soalan ni. Okay, Raja?
So the question is, dia kata should I talk about? Yes, you should. Because for me, have to give the bigger picture, the bigger idea of what your research topic is, your research area, your research subject. Then only you focus on your coconut shell. Okay, so in the introduction, in research background, maybe 2 to 3 sentences. One paragraph tu banyak sangat. Takut nanti dia jadi meleret. Kan? So of course, yes, you can actually explain more on biomass waste, 2 to 3 sentences, and then you narrow down to coconut shell and so on. Okay, Raja Muhammad Imran, is that okay?
Dia okay. Ya betul doktor, mic saya rosak.
Kat bawah sekali.
Okay, tak apa.
Alright. Any other questions? Alright. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, kelas pula. Okay, participants, please, you can ask questions. Okay, Dr. Raf is very sporting lecturer.
Lagi 1 bulan kan? You have one more month to complete your pre-manuscript. So
Okay, while waiting,
hopefully...
sorry, you may complete your sentence.
Yeah, so I think hopefully by today you can have a brief idea of how to write your pre-manuscript, since you have 1 month to complete your pre-manuscript. So yeah, at least the earlier you know how to write, what you should include, then that would be better.
Doctor, I think we have a question from the participants. Okay.
Doktor.
Mana? Okay.
Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay. Azmi nak tanya pasal yang abstract tadi. Kan dia punya limit is 100 to 250 kan words. So is it macam setiap background ke apa segment dia ada limit dia punya sentence berapa ayat ke apa ke? Macam
tak ada limit pun, untuk setiap satu tak ada limit. But the whole abstract tu ada limit. So that's why kita propose, kita kata we suggest that you have 1 to 2 sentences, 1 to 2 for research background, 2 sentences problem statement, 3 sentences method, macam tu. Ada weightage lah, so that tak nak nampak macam background sampai half. And then bawah tu jadi sikit-sikit. Macam tu. Okay? Because we want to have a chronological ideas. The connection of the ideas is very important. So that you will make your readers understand better on your work. Okay? Mula-mula background, lepas tu problem statement, lepas tu what are you going to do? Your objective, and then your method, how are you going to do it, and finally your expected result.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doktor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Muhammad Sabirin. Okay, next, do we have any question from the participants? Kalau tak tanya, nanti saya tanya.
Oh, semua sekali 246 lah.
Itulah, kita ada almost 100. Patutnya kita ada 430 something. For
Oh,
30
Allah.
student.
Hmm.
Okay, lagi soalan? Any question from the floor? Kalau tak ada, saya tanya. Boleh ke saya tanya Dr. Raf? Can I ask a question in which I already know the answer? Okay. We have a
Ni
question
ada.
from the chat box.
Ahnaf kan, Muhammad Ahnaf doktor. Untuk input for extract supposed to be in sequence or can be, kena ada sequence. Ahnaf. Input for extract supposed to be in sequence or can be randomly arranged. Kalau random sangat, nanti tak nampak flow. Okay, background tu sebab kita nak tahu, first thing first, we want to know your research topic. What is the topic that you want to cover? That's why kita tulis research background starting, and then terus tunjuk problem. Because from the research topic, we want to know what is the problem that you are going to address. That's why kena ada sequence tu. Okay, then problem statement. So from the problem statement, we want to know what are you going to do to solve the problem. Okay, that is your objective. Identify, for example, analyze. That's why terus problem statement, terus objective, and then method, and then finally result. Okay, Anna, better in a sequence way, all right? So that, yeah, you make your readers understand better. Okay, welcome.
Okay, lagi soalan? Do you have any question? Dr. Raf, normally how many pages untuk write a pre-manuscript? Sebab kita nak kena hantar pre-manuscript and then another one kita kena hantar report which is a thesis kan. Okay.
Tapi
So,
ni pre-manuscript kan?
how many pages?
Kalau manuscript selalu dalam 7 macam tu kan? Kalau manuscript dalam 7 ke 10, kalau pre-manuscript half of it ke? 3 ke 5 ke?
Around that lah.
Kalau saya,
3 to 5 will be sufficient lah.
Yeah, sufficient. Betul? Because it is a pre-manuscript kan, macam half of it. So kalau the whole manuscript selalunya lah 7 to 10, depends on publications requirement lah kan. Some journals tak ada limit langsung pun ada. But some of it ada limit dalam 7 to 10. But for your RP research project, the limits you have to check on Moodle lah. Kan ada kan kita all the guidelines. You need to check on the guidelines. But if you planning, okay, to submit your article in reputable and high quality journals in Q1, Q2, usually they do not have any limit on pages. Memang boleh banyak, tapi tak boleh sikit lah, kan? Usually memang we have more than 30 pages pun ada. But then that pages also covers, doktor untuk period ni ada template ke? Ada Fatin. Fatin boleh tengok dekat Moodle. Memang ada manuscript, ada template. You can check the Moodle now to find the template for the pre-manuscript. Alright, so okay, sambung tadi. Kalau if you want to submit to high reputable journals ni, kenapa dia tak ada limit? Because sometimes you attach sekali, kalau computer program tu you attach sekali your coding semua in an appendix. That's why banyaklah pages akan cover. Begitu juga some figures. Sometimes we do not put the figures in the manuscript, but we put it in appendix to attach to make it a better representation of your work lah. Betul tak Dr. Ashraf? Tak ada limit kan?
Betul, tak ada limit.
But this specifically for your RP lah, okay? Okay, welcome Fatin Zulaika.
Lagi, do you have any question? Ada soalan lagi ke? Okay, based on previous experience, some lecturers ada complain tau. Student ni dia tulis manuscript ni terlampau banyak sangat pages, almost like a copy paste from apa kata daripada itulah journal kan. So is that a good practice?
it should be a short description of each section. It's like the background, the problem statement, just like what I have shown just now. If you have problem statement in abstract 1 to 2 sentences, in your pre-manuscript, maybe 1 paragraph. But in your thesis, you can have like 3 to 4 paragraphs for that particular problem statement. Same thing goes to method. In pre-manuscript method, just maybe 1 paragraph. But in your thesis, you can have more. Be very detailed. But the method has to be a short description. In your pre-manuscript, it should be short descriptions of your whole method. That's why the flowchart will help you, okay? And illustrations will help you. In order for you to write lengthy sentences, you just have a nice flowchart to represent your method, for example. For me, for pre-manuscript, maybe you can have 1 to 2 paragraph method, and then show your flowchart framework or any schematic diagram. That is my suggestions lah for the pre-manuscript, and also, and of course, for your manuscript later in your RP2.
Lepas tu, some of the students, they use like I, we. Can we use this pronunciation or not?
It shouldn't be in a scientific article, kan? Tak boleh macam explain of, ada kata ganti nama yeah.
Macam novel
please
pula
avoid. Yeah, please avoid using that. There's senang macam ni lah. You want to know the writing style. When you read the paper, you read the journals. That's how you are going to write. Understand the writing style, follow the sequence, and then you write on your own. Okay. If you have never seen in a journal that write I form, we investigate, then you should have not write that way. Okay. Tapi ada juga journal yang sometimes ada perkataan we, kan? Dr. Ashraf ada, but not all parts of the journals. All part of the manuscript. Maybe some part akhir itu sekali ke, we would propose to ke apa sometimes, tapi tak sepenuhnya.
Jarang lah. I think
jarang.
Memang very rare.
Very rare.
Dia orang propose in this study, in this work, this approach will be taken. Dia tak ada tulis pun in this study, in this paper, we will do this. Normally, please don't write like that lah kan.
Okay, avoid. Okay, students, please do not write in such a way. Okay, just like what I mentioned, for me, when I want to write one manuscript, I must have 2 or 3 manuscripts as my model, as my reference. Bukan reference word by word nak ikut, no. But that will be, you have to have some 1 or 2 articles that you need to compare with your work. You match your work. Is it your method, the way you write the method, as good as this particular, as good as this journal in writing the method? You compare it. Okay, you must have benchmark. You follow the quality of the work. It's not you follow word by word or the ideas. No, you find the quality of the work, you do on your own, and then you match. Okay, this is the writing style in this work. Macam apa Dr. Ashraf cakap tadi kan, in this work, the presents, to show, to indicate. Okay, the words that they are using. Okay, you can use as well. Right? But do not copy word by word, sentence by sentence. Do not. But the writing style, you have to capture. When you read them, you analyze the journal, not only the content of the journal, but analyze as well the writing style of that journal, and make it as your benchmark when you do your own pre-manuscript, so that you know your level. Okay? Try to achieve the best as you can, okay, by referring to that some of the literatures that you have read. I am sure by now you must have 1 or 2 literature yang memang you rasa this is very good. I want to do, I want to write as good as this. It's very technically detailed. The detail of the technical part is very good. you understand it. I'm sure you have that. Okay. Kita mesti ada aim lah. We must have aims in writing. You must have benchmark so that you aim to write as good as that. Macam tu.
Right. Since we don't have any question anymore, I think with that, I think we will conclude our. Please make sure you establish communication with your supervisors. Jangan sampai 2 minggu, 3 minggu langsung tak message supervisor. Okay. You all kena aware, almost all lecturers are very busy. Okay. So kalau you memang tak message your supervisor, then they will just simply ignore you. Okay. So you have to communicate them. Okay. Text them at least once in a week. Sebab some of the supervisor, they don't even ask your progress. Sampai submission baru tanya mana you punya pre-manuscript. Then berterabur lah jadinya. So it's better for you to establish communication, okay, at least once a week. Kalau dalam 2 minggu your supervisor tak communicate dengan you terus communicate dengan dia orang.
Betul?
Betul Dr. Raf?
Be proactive. By the end of the day, yang nak dapat A is you. Okay, so be proactive. Please aim to get an A. So you have to plan your own work, and then you need to find your meet your supervisors. Contact your supervisors. Yeah.
So Dr. Raf, any final word for the students?
Okay, all the best for your research throughout the RP1 and RP2. I think you have valuable talks previously. Kan? Dah banyak talk dah kan? I think this is this the 5th talk or the 4th?
Talk number 4.
Oh, talk number 4.
Okay, so
so hopefully the lecturers have given you guidance, yeah, and have actually shown to you how can you prepare a good manuscript, how can you conduct the research, how to do the literature review, abstract, and so on. So all the best, students. Please write at your best, and then submit by based on the deadline. Yeah. All right. Thank you,
Okay,
Natasha.
all participants, let us give a big applause to Dr. Rafeqah by clicking the reactions clapping. Okay. All right. So.
Macam tu sekarang.
Applause. Thank you very much, Dr. Rafeqah, for your time. So we'd like to invite you, inshallah, again and again for the pre-manuscript talk. All right. Okay, thank you
welcome,
all.
welcome. Assalamualaikum.
Kita tangguh dengan tasbih kifarah. Subhanallah.
Bismillah.
Right. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon all.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Ashraf. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.